You're listening to 834's award-winning podcast, The Happy Hour Hustle. We offer listeners the chance to experience the musings, or ramblings depending on how many glasses of wine she's had, of the one and only Kimberly J. Bodie as she interviews notable clients, upstanding community members, and random passerby. Nominations and awards pending.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Happy Hour Hustle. We have a really exciting show for you today. We're chatting with Jennifer Rock and Michael Voss, who wrote the book Operation Clusterpuck, which might be my favorite name ever. Today we're going to chat with them about their book, a little bit about their journeys themselves as entrepreneurs, and how you can obviously get the book, and then, So, Jennifer, I'm gonna turn it over to you to introduce yourself first. If you can kind of just introduce yourself to listeners, and then we'll start chatting about the book after we introduce Michael.
Sounds good. Happy to be here. Thanks. I'm Jennifer Rock. I have been a professional communicator for about 25 years, working in all sorts of corporations in different size companies. And Mike and he can talk a little bit more about it, but we crossed paths at Best Buy headquarters here in Minneapolis, where we worked together for 12 years. And that really set off a course of events where I ended up quitting my job, fulfilling the dream to write not one, but two books about the corporate American experience, and start our own business.
Michael, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. So I'm Michael Voss. I'm Jennifer's co-author. And we are thrilled to be here on the Happy Hour Hustle podcast, in part because we came up with the scheme to quit our jobs and finish our book and start our business at a happy hour. So we just thought there was awesome. A bit of serendipity there that we were excited to join the show.
Well, that kind of leads into my next question. We always like to open with this. What is your favorite happy hour drink?
Oh, that's an excellent question. My go-to is vodka and soda with extra lime.
Nice.
And
Michael?
I typically drink a vodka and 7 with no fruit, although I will occasionally dabble with a vodka martini.
Oh, nice. I love that you guys thought up this idea to go out on your own. Through a happy hour, because that's where all my best thinking happens. So I'm glad it's not just me.
Oh, no. We always say that our best ideas happen over cocktails.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the book, Operation Clusterpuck. So this book really does have everything, and, it's got the greed, deceit, intrigue, romance, humor, and it's about corporate America, which people might deem boring, but how do you, probably one of my first questions is, how did you come up with that name?
So I have to give credit to Jennifer for that name. We had a different working title for the book that was, I can't even remember what it was, but it wasn't all that exciting. And our publisher said, let's get something a little sexier, something a little edgier, something that really would make people want to, spot it on the bookshelf and want to open it up and see what it's all about. And so Jennifer and I kicked around a few ideas and descriptors, and she came up with the idea of something that sounded like a swear word, but isn't an actual swear word. And then tying that to a project name, which so often happens in corporate America. So the project within the book is called Operation Wanderlust, but the people inside who know it's going badly call it Operation Clusterpuck with a P.
That's awesome. I like anything that's based on a swear word. So, so tell me, why write a book on corporate America? Some might say it's a boring topic, but this book is definitely anything but boring.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. And when we both separately grew up as writers, and both of us separately had the dream to write a book. And when it really came down to it, of what do we know enough about? What do we have enough stories and characters and things in our heads that we could put all that together? We really did think about doing a nonfiction book to begin with. Something on thought leadership, or one of those corporate-y kind of topics, which we certainly could do that based on our experience. But, when it really came down to it, we had both kept copious notes of all of the ridiculous things that happen behind closed doors at a company. And because of the roles that we played in companies, we were working directly with the CEO, we were in board of directors meetings, we were on the corporate jet. And we just had an insight to some of the mayhem that happens in corporations that no one ever gets to see. And we said, you know what? I think we can form a fictional company loosely based on some of our real life experiences that's going to really open the doors to a world that a lot of people never get to experience.
Oh, yeah, or ever talk about, quite frankly. I really should have been taking notes all this time. I have lots of good stories to share, too, about, corporate America, if you will. So maybe given a little bit, we haven't really talked much about the book, a little overview of the book. It follows kind of two characters, Will and Anna. And then so maybe just talk a little bit about, because I think the book starts out with Will. And basically it's his journey through corporate America.
Yeah, so both of our books, BS Incorporated and Operation Clusterpuck, take place in a giant Midwestern company that's grown too big, too fast, and is spiraling out of control. And as you said, Will and Anna are sort of our readers' tour guides through all the mayhem that takes place. And Will is a company lifer; he loves the place and couldn't dream of working anywhere else. For Anna, it's a bit of a stepping stone on her way to bigger and better things. And we thought that was just a nice way to really illustrate the way different people view and tackle their careers in different ways and view the work experience differently, whether you're male or female, been there a long time, been there a short time. But all of you are sort of wading through the same kinds of bureaucracy and BS.
And I also like that the name of the company is BS Incorporated.
Yes, that was very purposeful, of course. That we
I
do
figured.
a little double entendre there for the first book, and to be honest, we for our books we chose one of the most boring industries we could think of, which is office supplies and copiers, because we wanted the fictional company in these books to feel like anybody's company. In any big company. It doesn't really matter what they sell or what they do. What matters is the experiences that they go through and the free food in the break room and the stuff that everybody experiences and can read and say, oh my gosh, I've worked with people like that, and I've totally had those same things happen to me, regardless of the industry or the company.
Yep, those who overuse the word synergy. It's like my least favorite word ever. So, both of you have worked in corporate America for over 20 years. And like you said, the book is loosely based on some of those experiences and stories. Can you maybe talk about one outrageous story that really influenced the book?
Sure. We had a situation where we were looking for a new CEO for the company that we worked for. So the board of directors had been in charge of finding a new CEO, and a lot of people thought it would be an internal candidate who was very popular. But they ended up hiring an outsider who viewed that internal candidate as a threat. And so he immediately set about, giving the man very, very difficult work hours. He had to work all weekend, and they'd be in the office together all weekend. And this went on for a few weeks. And finally, the number two guy who didn't get the job went into his office and said, it's Sunday. I can't come to the 5 p.m. IT meeting today. It's my 5-year-old's birthday, and we have a pizza party for him at his favorite pizza parlor here in town. And we're just going to have the IT budget meeting on Monday. And the CEO didn't say too much. And the number two guy went back to his office. And when the time came to go to his son's birthday party, he left and went and showed up, and who was sitting at the table with his wife and son and all his son's friends? The CEO showed up at the kid's birthday party and proceeded to force the IT budget conversation right there amid all the cupcakes and balloons.
Wow, what a boring party that must have turned out to be.
I think, it's,
Wow.
and really it's stories like that, again, seeing how some of the worst of the worst can act at the top of a company that, people talk about great heroes and villains in these epic novels that they read. And we were like, we've seen some of the worst of the worst and the best of the best. Like, if you look no further than the C-suite, if you want to talk heroes and villains.
Oh, well, yeah, no doubt. I mean, I can remember being forced to go to a strip club, and yes, I was forced, everyone,
Oh.
to go to a strip club with one of my bosses, and he tried to buy me a lap dance, but I graciously turned it down. If you can turn that down graciously.
Oh my
So yeah,
gosh.
I mean, right? Yeah. So you guys, if you ever need any more stories, you just let me know, and I can share a few with you.
Oh yeah, please. People have asked us, are you ever worried about running out of stories about corporate America for your books? No, we're not.
No, there's plenty out there. So you've said before that this book is kind of about the unsung heroes of corporate America. What do you mean by that?
Sure. We have worked for and with some amazing people throughout our careers in many companies. And, there's a reason we dedicated the first book to those unsung heroes. And to us, those are the people who are there to turn on the lights in the office first thing in the morning. They're the ones whose cars are the last to leave the parking ramp at the end of the day. They're the people who save their companies, basically save their companies and their leaders every single day in countless ways, whether it's to find the error in the debit sheet or to, come up with the idea or whatever it is. And these are the people who never seem to get the credit that they deserve for all of the amazing things they do and for having each other's backs and really being wonderful people that gets you through the day and gets you to the happy hour and makes your career worthwhile. So we really wanted to shine a light on those people. They tend to be middle managers or administrative assistants and the people who, like we said, just never get that spotlight. And we wanted to show what heroes they can be.
Oh, that's awesome. Because they are the ones that make companies run, and yet they're often like you said, they're the ones that aren't acknowledged. So we're getting near the end of our time, but I want to kind of have you guys each, maybe give one piece of advice that you have for those that are tackling the corporate world, or what your thoughts are for just one takeaway that you have, or you hope people get from the book.
Yeah, great. I think for me, it would be to what we call find your crew, or other people describe it as find your tribe. Find those people who share your outlook on the work experience that you've got. The people who have a sense of humor, the people you can go to happy hour with, and the people who will have your back when you have those down days. There's just we spend so much time at work, and you really need those people who will have your back when you need them to, and that'll share a laugh when you need a laugh.
Jennifer?
Yeah, and I'd add to that it's an important theme in our books as well, as to not lose sight of who you are, and that goes whether you are an individual or whether you are a company, running a company. But we've known a lot of people throughout our careers who kind of sell their souls for the next title, or maybe are a little more, shall we say, morally ambiguous when the situation calls for it. And we are true believers in, you stick to your guns, you stick to your ethics, you stick to who you are, and don't settle for a company that makes you do differently or makes you do less. So, like I said, it's a theme that we have put throughout our book, and so hopefully, as people are laughing and appreciating the absurdity through our stories, they're also learning just a little bit as well.
Well, and I can say, too, that's definitely the reason that, I left that world and started my own business, because I wanted to make sure that there was a culture that my employees would love to come to and that they could embrace and feel like they were a part of, where everyone does get acknowledged for the great work that they do. So I think that's what some of us end up doing is we maybe leave that world, but because of those experiences, we're stronger for it. But also, boy, do they make good stories to tell, as you guys have written.
Absolutely.
Where can people purchase the book?
So you can purchase the paperback or the ebook anywhere that fine paperbacks or ebooks are sold. So you can get it on Amazon, you can get it on BarnesandNoble.com, Apple's iBooks, or any of those kinds of places. And you can also buy it direct from our distributor at rockandvossbooks.com. And if you happen to be listening in the Twin Cities area, you can walk into any Barnes & Noble store in the Twin Cities, and they'll have copies of Operation Clusterpuck on the shelves.
Wonderful. I can't thank you guys enough. This is a really, really great book, and like I said, I'm working my way through it right now, and it's I think people will read this and be like, oh wow, so that's happened to other people. Okay, I'm not alone. So thank you for writing Operation Clusterpuck, and thanks for joining us today on the Happy Hour Hustle. We will have links to all of this within our description, and we'll share over our social channels as well. But thanks again, guys. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.